You're listening to episode 313 of the Major Issues Podcast, and on this episode, we look at all the projects that are going to come out this year in 2024 and try to predict what's going to hit and what's going to miss. The Major Issues Podcast starts right now! Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don. And if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason. It's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com. And I have the best job in the world because I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
I am the all-star Asa Griffith, straight out of Orange County.
It's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute.
Sir.
And usually when you're on this cast, we are looking back. You know, we were looking at the rear view mirror. We're trying to look back at a piece of media that we've watched, a book that we've read, a show that we want to cover. We are in a rarefied air. We're in a good mood this week. We're actually going to be looking forward into the future. It is the first week, or I guess two, when this comes out, of 2024. Did you have a good New Year?
It was fun, low key. Being a dad is different, but we had a great time. Played a lot of dominoes, so I'm gonna get some dominoes fans out there on the Instagram later.
Yeah, it was weird because of it landing on a Sunday. Same thing with Christmas. Threw me off freaking completely, and work took complete advantage of that because they were like, oh, you know, work days are work days. But yeah, I always like in the beginning of these years when we have a chance to kind of look at the slate of things that have been announced to come out this year and kind of gauge our excitement to see whether or not we're anticipating a lot of this stuff. But it's also really fun because after this, when this year is complete, it's always fun to look back at these episodes and see what was the sleeper hits, things maybe we weren't really anticipating were going to be great, and the things that we thought were going to be absolutely amazing that may not have hit all that well. So if you're willing, I'd like to go through the slate that I currently have of movies and television shows dealing with comic books and comic book media, and we can kind of gauge our excitement. What do you think?
Oh yeah, let's play.
I dig it. Let's start off with stuff that's already out, technically. Echo has already dropped all of its episodes, 5 episodes on Disney Plus. Marvel's Echo is a television miniseries created by Marion Dyer for the streaming service Disney Plus. It's the 10th TV series in the MCU, produced by Marvel Studios. The series follows Maya Lopez, also known as Echo, a deaf Native American Choctaw and the former leader of the Tracksuit Mafia, a criminal gang working for Wilson Fisk. After the events of Hawkeye in 2021, Maya is being pursued by Wilson Fisk's organization, leading her to return to her hometown in Oklahoma, where she must come to terms with her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace her family and community. The series stars Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez / Echo, with Chaske Spencer, Tantu Cardinal, Charlie Cox, Devery Jacobs, Zahn McLaren, Cody Lightning, that's an amazing name, Graham Greene, and our boy Vincent D'Onofrio. Now, as we're recording, the episodes have dropped. Strangely, I haven't gotten into it yet. Usually this stuff I'm already dived in, especially with the idea that all the episodes are out. A younger George would have stood up and tried to finish all this stuff and then been in a terrible mood for work. What is your level of excitement towards this series, and have you had a chance to check any of it out yet?
Super amped. I would say, if going at a scale of 5,
yeah,
I'm gonna go 4.8 on a level of excitement. Now I have delved into it a bit. I've watched the first episode.
Okay.
It's from what I watched. Just from the episode. You do have quite a bit of flashbacks, kind of showing you how you got here.
Okay.
But it's done well because they add content.
Right.
But also, I think the MCU, at least they just confirmed that all of the Defenders Netflix series are now officially canon.
Yeah.
So now that all that's real, I think for the most part, MCU shows crush it.
I think so, I think so as well. I'm a little peeved by their flip flopping of that whole MCU thing, because when the series had all first came out, it was like, yeah, MCU, they would reference, the Battle of New York, or they would reference the blip or whatever. And you'd be like, oh, that's super cool. And then the movies never gave them that kind of love. And we started to slowly backtrack and be like, well, maybe it's an alternate universe. And then when we started hearing that some of these characters were going to be introduced into the MCU proper, there was a lot of talk of like, well, this is like kind of a reboot. This is Matt, but it's not the Matt in She-Hulk. It's kind of like an offshoot kind of Matt. I'm glad that we are here, but all the stuff in between, it was like Marvel Netflix liked MCU, but MCU didn't like Marvel Netflix. And so now they decided to get together and birth this baby Echo, which is a hodgepodge of what we've already established in the MCU with characters like Hawkeye, and now moving forward to kind of lead us to things like Daredevil Born Again, which is going to connect all of it together. I've gone with flat numbers, so I've got a 4 out of 5. The only thing that is making me trepidatious is just the idea in general and the vast universe of possibilities that I won't like it. That's the one, like, because we're in a weird situation right now where to the fan base, one of these things not hitting can make or break their enjoyment of the rest of this. There's a lot of people that were already kind of tired, right? They were already kind of, lagging behind with some of this stuff. So if this doesn't knock it out of the park, they may not follow the rest of this through line through. I laugh because, have you seen the actual Defenders show?
Yes, sadly.
So the thing that I keep yelling at people whenever they tell me that this is canon now is I'm like, so where the hell was everybody with the dragon bones underneath the city? Where were the Avengers? Where was Spider-Man? They was digging up dragon bones. There's a whole clandestine ninja army. Hell's Kitchen, cutting off people's fingers and invading hospitals. There's a lot going on. But it'll be interesting to see some of this stuff come together. I'm a little also trepidatious with Fisk. I love Fisk in the MCU Netflix series. So like, I'm just very, I hope very much that it's in that same vein. I love Vincent D'Onofrio, Vanessa, son of a boxer. I love all that. So I'm hoping that they bring the energy and stuff with that. And then that's just on the like the surface level. There's so many people, whether they are of Native American background or hearing impaired, that are going to get a whole nother level of enjoyment from this series. We posted about it on ComicBookClique on our Facebook, and somebody was like, "Oh, they're going to lose a bunch of money pandering to." I'm like, these guys are swimming in money. If one show out of 35 is geared to a different demographic, I'm not hurting. Like I never get that that resistance to a different sort of protagonist, but I don't think that's going to detour this show at all if it's meant to be as good as it looks. And this is also us dipping our toe into something a bit more adult with the MCU shows.
Well, it also kind of, we're returning, whereas Daredevil seasons 1 through 3 were phenomenal. I would probably maybe my favorite property that of the entirety now in the MCU proper. My only, I would say, issue would be Iron Fist. Just
season 2 was a bit better. Season 2, right. But that's only because they said you suck in season 2. They're like, by the way,
exactly.
You suck.
Well, they also kind of referenced the Immortal Iron Fist, which was one of my favorite comic runs.
Super cool. I just read that not too long ago. Really, really good stuff.
It's good.
Really, really good stuff.
Whenever they finished it, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get hyped for season 3." Then, season 3 is gonna be legit. I don't think they won't do the whole, multi-universe city war prison thing.
They did kind of like a truncated version of that in season 1. Remember they made him fight a bunch of different people. It was like a weird like tournament kind of raid. He had to go to different levels, and one of them was like the Bride of Nine Spiders, or the Bride of Spiders. Can't remember exactly her name was, but like she's in that run there. It was such a hodgepodge of what the story could have been, but yeah, to see that end, looking for Orson Randall, the guns with the glowing and stuff like that. I was like, what? Even Luke Cage, which I felt like kind of fell off a cliff once Mahershala Ali wasn't there. I really think it like the idea that Luke would think he needs to be on the bad side to keep the bad stuff, like is an interesting wrinkle for that character. He's like, well, I'll be the mob boss if that means keeping the mobs at bay. And it's like, how does Daredevil feel about that? How does Jessica feel about that? How does, Danny feel about that kind of stuff? So I'm super excited to watch these guys connect. Is there anybody in these Defenders universe that you want to see kind of chalk it up with anybody MCU proper?
Well, the character himself, spoilers for Jessica Jones. I thought the addition of Purple Man, who's a terrifying villain, the fact that now he's official, but She-Hulk kind of made it where there are people with powers kind of all around. Some of them are a little louder than others. So if you take that 10 years ago, Purple Man, terrifying villain, I think he would have been the most interesting to see kind of involved, but also to see a Jessica Jones-esque, like her return, I think would be really, really fun. I don't know how she personally would translate to the movie MCU. Especially in like a mainline role, like if she showed up or whatever. Kind of same with was it Shadowcat, her sister who.
Oh yeah, Hellcat,
that's it. Shadowcat's a whole different thing. Same with Hellcat, and so that's interesting. I have not delved far into Echo. I really hope if we stay or if we go back to New York City, we do get a little more Daredevil. Maybe we do get a reference to like the Luke Cage crime syndicate,
Oh yeah, I was about to say they kind of are. They're not in New York for Echo, right? That's what we were just saying. They go to Oklahoma, so it kind of allows them to touch on the Defenders of it all, but not necessarily. I don't have to say, well, where is everybody, because they're not in New York.
But also with they kind of in Hawkeye, they kind of hint that the Kingpin survived the blip and used the blip to become the Kingpin, or to re-become the Kingpin. And then
because last we saw he was going to jail, right?
He got shot.
I beat you. Well, before that.
Oh yeah, okay, yes, yeah.
Before the blip, is Matt screaming in his face.
Yeah,
while he's covered in blood.
He showed him his face and was like,
right.
It was awful.
And so it would have to go from there to where we see him in Hawkeye. That time is unaccounted for, seemingly, and I guess they might touch on some of that in Echo. You mentioned Jessica Jones. She's real big friends with Carol Danvers in the comics. That would be pretty fun to see her and Brie Larson, like the cheeriness of Brie Larson and just the dryness of Kristen Ritter. I think it would be really, really cool. I want Foggy Nelson back. I want Foggy and Karen back. I want to bring all these. I want Turk Barrett back. Remember Turk? He was in every show. He was the low level guy that used to always get.
I got some bad news for you, man.
Is he gone? Did he die?
I believe that actor. I believe he passed away. Yes.
Oh no! You just heard it here, folks. On the major
breaking podcast, news from 2 years ago.
Possibly a very, very long time ago. Another thing that's come out. Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 is an animated superhero film and the first entry in a trilogy. This movie is based on the DC Comics crossover event of the same name, which is aimed to streamline the DC's continuity and establish a more accessible canon. The film follows Barry Allen, also known as The Flash, as he revisits personal milestones like his first day with Iris West, the formation of the Justice League, and his wedding day. A mysterious entity is killing planets in every reality, and Barry's Earth is next. With so many threads scattered across time and space, Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 is basically built for incomprehension. That's what it says. The film is directed by Jeff Wamister and written by Jim Craig. The movie was released on January 9th and is available on various streaming platforms. So this I gave a 2 out of 5. I don't absolutely like. I'm gonna get around to it, but the idea of DC constantly torpedoing universes, I'm just a little bit over it. And Crisis, very much like Flashpoint, to me has always served as a, in case of emergency, break glass situation. You know, like we've gone way too far, smash the thing, we're resetting it all. And that's what Crisis is supposed to do. They've done it in the Arrowverse already, you know, depending on how you feel about it, to some success or not. But I don't know if you were tracking this. We were in something called the Tomorrowverse for the animated films. I'm sorry. And I think it's only been like 2 or 3 years or something like that. Like right before this Tomorrowverse, we had like a 20 film connected universe with like Throne of Atlantis and all the like Batman Bad Blood and what is it the other Infinite Earths one, I can't remember exactly what it's called, where you meet the crime syndicate. But all of that was supposed to be like in the same sort of shared universe, and they did you know, that big blowout thing with Darkseid and all that stuff. It was kind of metal. And then we ushered in this era and we were already hitting the reset button. So I'm like, I'm not gonna drag it completely, but it's like I can't help but think that the Crisis, and you'll hear it here first, is going to be the big fish that James Gunn is going to try to wrangle. Supposedly he has a 10-year plan. And it just makes sense that it would be a celebration of all things DC at the end of the day, which means including other multiverses, like possibly the Arrowverse. You might see those guys suit up in 5 years' time, you know. But I definitely think all of it should bring Henry Cavill back as some sort of like either Kingdom Come Superman or Earth 2 Superman. You know, like their Earth would be a cautionary tale of like what goes wrong, what happens when things go wrong over there. But have you been following up on these animated films at all? And what is your anticipation for this?
Oh, well, this one, I think you're right with a 2, in as far as excitement goes. Yeah, I mean, I think Arrowverse, that just ended 7 years ago? Like, it wasn't that long ago. Didn't they also do a Shazam centered one? Like, within the past decade or so? But I would agree. I think this is James Gunn, who's just like, you know what? I want everything to kind of be aligned in my situation. You know, let's just go ahead and, you know, we'll end the Tomorrowverse, and then now we'll focus on the DCEU Elseworlds. Well, right. With like he's doing with all the other live action things, and then the other animated things. I would agree with you. I mean, but if we can get Henry Cavill back as Injustice Superman,
that'd be pretty cool too.
I'm 100% in. 100% DC can do no wrong. If the entire decade of Batman versus Superman, why'd you say that name, leads us to Injustice with Henry Cavill, worth it all.
Yeah, it would feel like they are completing an arc there. But you're right 100%. I completely spaced on the fact that the animated shows for DC moving forward are going to be connected to the same universe that James Gunn is creating. So, people who might have voiced certain animated characters might actually end up playing them in real life, et cetera, and so forth. So yeah, this is literally a line-wide restart. So this is going to restart this, and we'll talk about the last remnants of the CW Arrowverse, which are also going to tank, all to make a clean slate for their DCU. Next up, on February 14th, we have Madam Web. Madam Web is an upcoming superhero film Based on the Marvel character of the same name, the movie is produced by Columbia Pictures and D. Bonaventura Pictures in association with Marvel Entertainment and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. The film is directed by S.J. Clarkson, who co-wrote the screenplay with Claire Parker, Matt Sazama, and Burke Sharpless from a story written by Kareem Sanga, Sazama, and Sharpless. So 3 writers. I don't know. The movie stars Dakota Johnson as Cassandra Cassie Webb, Madam Webb, a New York paramedic who channels her newfound clairvoyant abilities to fight crime and protect a trio of young women from a ruthless enemy with mysterious ties to their past. The film also stars Sydney Sweeney, Celeste O'Connor, Isabel Merced, and Tahar Rahim. The movie is set to be released again on Valentine's Day of this year. I put this squarely at a 1 because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, Morbius, and let there be carnage, shame on me. And now we have this. And I believe, very similar to what I said about Crisis and The Flash, I have always seen this movie as some sort of weird Trojan horse that's going to allow Sony to put their name on the connected universe of Spider-Man. Even though a piece of that is still in the MCU, I think the combination of this, Spider-Verse, and whatever other multiversal stuff is happening in the MCU is going to allow for that stuff to move back and forth. And this is going to be our introduction that Sony's also playing the multiverse game. Madam Web, as you know, can see the past and the present, but she can also see the web of destiny, which is where other spider people in other universes, you know, she can see and sense them. It's a big part of the actual Spider-Verse comic that they haven't really touched on at all, this whole web of destiny that links everybody together. They kind of played it with a little bit with Miguel O'Hara. But yeah, like this, I kind of just want to see the post credit. Like I kind of just want to see where this leaves things at the end of it. But don't let me rain on your parade if you are digging Madam Web. Where are you gauged at with this film?
So if I have to stick on a 1 to 5 and I can't go lower, I think 1's probably the way to go.
Yeah.
So far Sony's done almost nothing to impress me out on their live action movies. I would love to tell you that I enjoyed was it Let There Be Carnage? Because the lead up to that, because Venom was fine. I didn't love Venom.
I thought Venom was fine.
I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was a fun take on a character. You know, I think Tom Hardy kind of killed it as Eddie Brock. You know, and then so Venom was enjoyable, and then I was hyped for Let There Be Carnage with you know, especially with Woody Harrelson, who's insane as a person. But this, from my understanding, Madam Web in itself is an additional universe. It's not. Boy. I could be wrong, but I was reading. You kind of in preparing for our podcast. This is another universe to which can make everything come together. You know, like I think they're the villain they have.
Ezekiel Sims.
Yes, I think he's really interesting.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, if I remember correctly, doesn't he not suit up? Isn't he kind of like...
He doesn't have power. I mean, he has power. Sorry, he doesn't have... I don't think he got bit. I think he like trained himself to do this stuff. But his most characteristic feature is he doesn't wear shoes. Like that's it. He wears like suits and doesn't wear shoes.
Didn't he get powers from like a totem? And like
the spider totem and stuff, and then he like trained himself to use the abilities, and he ends up telling Peter like, "What happened to you is not an accident. Like this is fated across the multiverse, and there's other people that have the totems as well." He's usually the introduction to like the inheritors, Merlin, and the rest of those spider killer people. So I can totally see this being the vehicle for that. But then, what do you do for 2 hours if this is if all this is just an introductory vehicle for concepts that you're not gonna really use here? I don't know. And remember that Venom post credit? Was it Venom? Where's the one where he like goes to the MCU for like a day?
Yeah, that was Carnage.
And then in Spider-Man, the post-credit, if I'm not mistaken, is that he just goes back.
Right back.
So it's just like, you know, so he knows of a Spider-Man.
Yes.
I guess coming back, you know. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good-looking people on this cast.
It will be an attractive movie to watch.
Yeah. But like, I cannot, like, Morbius was so dry. It was just dry. And I just, at a time now where everyone is screaming to the high heavens about fatigue, you wonder if there's space for something like this, you know, something that's not groundbreaking. I do believe there's space in general for non-groundbreaking movies, popcorn flicks that you could just eat. But right now we're at a case where like the next things have to hit, hopefully. And, I mean, come on, the thing that will hit, my 5 out of 5, coming July 26, 2024, Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 is an upcoming superhero film, you know, based on Deadpool. It's produced by Marvel Studios, Maximum Effort, and 21 Laps Entertainment, and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The movie is directed by Sean Levy, and stars Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson, Deadpool, Hugh Jackman as James Logan Howlett, Morena Baccarin as Vanessa Carlyle, Brianna Hildebrand as Negatonic Teenage Warhead, and Jennifer Garner as Electra Nachos. This film is intended to be the 34th film in the MCU. It's Deadpool's introduction into the MCU. It's a sequel to both Deadpool 1 and 2, and the story of the movie is still on the wraps, but it's expected to integrate Deadpool with the MCU, but also retain the R rating of the previous films. And like I said, I guess this Echo and stuff is kind of like the toe dipping for the R-rated content.
Okay, sorry, I had a little bit of technical issues.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, no, 10 out of 5.
10 out of 5.
No, yeah. Well, one, the writing for Daredevil, you know, 1 was, you know, amazing. I know people weren't as big a fan as 2 as 1, but I thought it was just as enjoyable. I don't know how Deadpool works in the MCU, you know, with the fourth wall breaking in a movie setting. But if it's, I mean, even if the writing's phenomenal and they had to tone it back a little bit just to kind of fit in the MCU, that's totally fine. You know, maybe we get a Deadpool kills every other universe but the MCU. Like,
yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, there's been stuff leaked out that's pretty interesting in regards to you know, all the Fox stuff, and that's, I think, what this is really meant to be, is some sort of, it's a love letter to everything Marvel that's not MCU. Everything that kind of falls right outside of this stuff, all the in association with Marvel stuff. But I hope they have a bunch of fun with it. Like I said, I want Blade, if they can, you know, like if we could get Wesley Snipes, I'm down for that. Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. Like, I really want them to kind of play around with every MCU film that kind of led us up to this here. But not only that, but I think what people are super stoked about, after 20 plus years playing the character, not only is Hugh Jackman returning, but he's getting his own suit. We're literally getting the Wolverine suit for the first time in 20 years. All the way when you trace back to that first film with the thing about spandex, you know, yellow spandex. Yeah. We're past that now. We're, I guess, you know, we're all about that now. There's no apologies when it comes to this kind of stuff. And the multiverse is, you know, it's completely in play with this Fox stuff, with the MCU stuff. And with the thing is, when it comes to multiverse, you never know who's going to end up dropping by. And I wanted to bring in a little bit of that energy to this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Better late than never. A-Rob, the Marvel God, is actually going to join us for the rest of this episode of the podcast. He has been one of the people that has been looking through all the news, rumors, and speculations when it comes to a lot of this stuff. I know he's super stoked about the future of some of these projects. But before we talk about all of that, how are you feeling about this Deadpool 3 of it all? And out of 5, rate your level of anticipation.
Ooh, man, Deadpool 3, the anticipation for it's 5 out of 5. Like this will be like the end it or break it for Marvel. Like with everything recently happening with them, this is gonna like save the ship, to save the ship because everyone think it's sinking for some reason. But Deadpool 3 is gonna do $1.5 billion at the box office for real. So I'm super excited for it. And rumor has it we might get this teaser trailer for it during the Super Bowl. So, we're going to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, we've only just been getting like vague teases. Like we've got nothing official of like this is what this is what it's going to be. We don't have a plot summary, any of that kind of stuff. People have been kind of deducing from what they've seen from leaked footage, and we've also been asked very kindly by Mr. Reynolds not to leak any more footage moving forward. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing about this film, you were talking about making it or breaking it, this will be the only MCU film of 2024. They got one. Which to a lot of people, that's great news because they felt like things were being a bit oversaturated. And
right.
come on, post this majors news, they need all the time in the world to restructure everything that they're working on because man, the house is on fire, and Kevin Feige's in the middle going, I'm fine. But there's still so much good stuff moving forward when it comes to this stuff. So I just can't wait to see. And I want to hear all the Deadpool Wolverine jokes. Like I want to hear all that kind of stuff. And then like this is the what do you call it? Almost the appetizer, right? I'm super stoked to watch this because I want to see, Deadpool and Wolverine and the Fox people. This is the door to get that guy hanging with Cap and hanging with Spider-Man and hanging with the X-Men. Like that's the next phase of all this stuff is Ryan Reynolds bullshit. Like the joke of Deadpool 1 is like they couldn't afford anybody else to be in the film, and now he's gonna be thrust in a universe full of characters that he could bounce his improv skills off of. Like what does it look when he meets a Darcy? Like what's that whole situation gonna look at when he finds Rocket, when he sees a talking raccoon with guns and stuff like that, just with a killer instinct just like him. I'm super stoked for that. I did say that this was the only MCU film coming out in 2024, but it's not the only Marvel film coming out, as we've already stated. Madam Web is set to come out. And regardless of whether or not anyone's asking for it, on August 30th, 2024, we are getting Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter is based on the Marvel character. It's produced by Columbia Pictures in association with Marvel Entertainment and distributed by Sony Pictures. It is intended to be the 5th film in the Sony Spider-Man universe. The film was directed by J.C. Chandor with a screenplay by Richard Wink, Art Markham, Matt Holloway from a story by Wink. It stars Aaron Taylor Johnson in the title role alongside Ariana DeBois, Russell Crowe, Fred Hitchinger, Christopher Abbott, and Alessandro Nivola. Kraven the Hunter is the visceral story about how and why one of Marvel's most iconic villains came to be, set before his notorious vendetta with Spider-Man. And this is the blurb on the website. Set before his notorious vendetta with Spider-Man, Aaron Taylor Johnson stars as the titular character in the R-rated film. Because you just got here, A-Rob, scale of 1 to 5, where you're sitting on Kraven, and just chat a bit about what you think about what this is going to be.
I'm actually really excited for Kraven just because of like how he was portrayed in the recent new Spider-Man game. I'm really seeing how Aaron Taylor Johnson's portrayal of that character is going to stack up with the most recent interpretation of the character, because he really got popularized to the mainstream because of the fact he appeared in that game. But now, because he's going to appear in the movie, he's going to appear in a grander general audience. So now people are really going to see, like, is this really Kraven? Is this the last Hunt Kraven? Is this the Kraven we're going to get that killed Spider-Man? Like, what kind of Kraven are we going to get it? Like, he always going to have magical lion blood. So there's that.
What do you give me out of 5?
Out of 5, I'm not anticipation for it. I'm going to give it a solid 3.5 out of 5. Because it's like here's another Spider-Man spinoff without Spider-Man. Why?
It's a good
I
question.
mean, I'm not mad, but like, can we get a spinoff with a little bit of Spider-Man in it, please?
Is anyone gonna pick up the Vulture? Like, he's still stuck
Right?
in Spider-Man.
That too. That's a
In the
whole loose
Morbius
thread.
universe.
He's with Morbius. They're just hanging out,
Yeah,
bro.
he's just in the Morbius universe. All-Star Asa Craven. Is it on your radar? What you think?
No,
No.
I too. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think but he no.
What are you giving? What are you giving it out of 5?
I'll say I'll give it a 2. I mean, at the very least, you have Zeus is the dad of Quicksilver.
Yeah.
I mean, is it gonna be? Is it set in the Venom, Morbius, Madam Web universe? Is it? I just think it's
Very
hard to
strange.
do a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. I mean,
I can agree there. I put it at a 3. I think the only thing that's gonna make it for me is the R rating. I'm very interested in seeing what they can do in the Spider-Man universe with an R rating. We've already seen him literally take a bite out of crime. In the trailer, he bites somebody's nose or something like that. And Chameleon has been rumored to be in this. We already know there's a Rhino mention in this. So simultaneously, as I said before, with Madam Web, I believe with Madam Web, Sony is using the building blocks to build their own live action Spider-Verse. With Craven, I think Sony foolishly is setting up for some sort of weird quasi Sinister Six something. Where it's going to be Morbius and Vulture if this is Craven, and then we get Rhino and maybe Chameleon. We're really ramping all this stuff up. And what is a Spider-Man just going to fall out of the sky? Is Tom Holland literally going to be pushed out of our MCU and where he stays on the Sony side of it all? I mean, who knows? But these guys all here need I was gonna say a villain, but they need a opponent, and it needs to be a good Spider-Man. This could all be happening in Andrew Garfield's universe.
that would be the saving grace for me. If you told me it was an Amazing Spider-Man, I'd be in 100%.
Right. And it could all be a thing where he stopped. He's not Spider-Manning because his girl just died not too long ago. We all saw that. So, there's a bunch of different ties that they could end up doing with this. But, yeah, I like that Aaron Taylor Johnson's kind of big. I saw him in Bullet Train. I think he's imposing, if he really wants to be threatening and stuff like that. I think he has that in him. But Sony just doesn't help these people. They don't. I don't feel like they really go out of their way to to make it better for them. And it's since the introduction of this multiverse and whatever weird under the table situation between Marvel and MCU that hasn't been spelled out to us yet, we're just gonna keep getting these weird kind of connections, and it only continues this year because Sony, knowing Marvel only got one film, is putting out 3. We got Madam Web, we got Craven, and in November 8th we have Venom 3.
Hopefully November is gonna tie all the just 2 movies before it and the previous Sony Spider-Man movies, together. Hopefully.
Yeah. So Venom 3, it just seemingly is just going to be called Venom 3. Kind of subtitle like Let There Be Carnage.
I really hope the subtitle is Along Came the Spider.
I like that.
It's Venom 3, Along Came the Spider.
I like that. So it's intended to be the 6th film in the universe as a sequel to both other Venom films. It's being written, co-produced, and directed by Kelly Marcel from a story she wrote with Tom Hardy, who reprises his role as Eddie Brock in Venom. 2 other cast members that have been revealed. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Mordo in Doctor Strange, will be in this film, but they don't say who he's playing. And then Juno Temple, who has done things in Ted Lasso. She's currently in Fargo, which is amazing if you haven't seen it. And I found out she was Selena Kyle's little buddy in The Dark Knight Rises. I was like, oh,
yeah, I was wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go first. I gave this a 2 out of 5. Only because I think that the film lives and breathes on that buddy cop thing and how much you buy that. And I bought it a lot more in the first one. In the second one, it felt like they literally created a drama so that they could break up and then get back together. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see what that character looks like when it's we. Finally, it's not you or me. You know, that's where the character ends up coming to a point, right? Where it becomes we are Venom. We are, we're working towards the same goals here. But the second film, they were just at odds the whole film, and then now we're kind of getting there. And then there's some weird dude, some weird cop. I think he has powers now on the second one. I can't remember what's going on there, but yeah, I gave it a 2.5 because I know where we've been. I'm sorry, 2.5, a 2 out of 5 because I know where we've been with this character. I haven't been necessarily impressed, and so it's a little bit lower than Kraven because Kraven kind of has a fresh start. And they're going for the R rating with Kraven, whereas I believe the Venom films have still been PG-13. All the head eating majority of it is off screen. But what do you think, All Star Asa? Where is Venom sitting on your radar?
We don't know. I don't think I've seen anything about it other than it's being made. I'll say I'll let it sit at a 2 preemptively. If you can give me the Return of Carnage, like a better version of Carnage, I'm back in. If you can give me Null, I think I'd be away 100% in. Null might be a little too big for this movie, especially for a Venom 3.
It's super interesting. I agree about that, but there's breadcrumbs of that in the game. I was very shocked to see how far into that kind of King in Black and the spirals on the symbiotes and all that kind of stuff. I was very surprised. I was like, this is all fairly new. A lot of this lore has just kind of been laid down. And I can't, whenever I see that stuff that's so recent being adapted, it always makes me think that this is the training wheels version of, can this work? Can we make this work? And so Null might be right around the corner. We might be getting those wings busting out. I
see it in a future DLC, especially with Carnage, a Carnage DLC coming out. It's going to lay that groundwork.
Yeah, there's been rumors of a Venom game possibly in the future. Yes. And this could be, I can see this as being when this film comes out, they'll release a DLC or they'll announce that the actual game is going on and stuff like that. Very similar to what you said about Kraven. I still don't understand how we continue to do this character without Spider-Man. His entire existence has always been about Spider-Man. That's why he has the spider on his chest. They even found a way to make that make sense in the game, right? Because it initially has nothing to do with Spider-Man. And then all of a sudden it starts copying it because Peter gets an interaction with it. So we'll see how this goes. How are you feeling about it, A-Rob?
I'm a huge Venom fan, so I don't want to say it's a 5, but I'm just curious to see where the story is going to go with the character after he had his multiversal jump. He came back, left a little bit of him in the MCU universe. Where is this character going to go from here? I'm just curious about what this is all going to lead to, and if it all leads to Null and Spider-Man 4, I'm here for it. Even though we still haven't got anything when it comes to the plot or just any type of, behind the scenes, just, a blurry pic if somebody took of it, somebody or something. But I'm really, I don't want to say excited for it, but I'm curious. I'm just curious about it. Yes.
You're sort of, you're looking at it. I'm looking at it with crossed arms. I mean, you heard my boy Andrew. He ain't never fought an alien before, so maybe he is really being set up for this universe. Maybe he is, because I can't see Tom Holland getting seduced by the symbiote and backhanding Zendaya. I don't see that happening, like how it happened with Toby. I can't see the whole emo dance with Tom Holland, but. Maybe with Garfield, that character's been through some dark places. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. So yeah, it's crazy because we're watching a character that Venom for the most part is all edge. Like that's why that character was created in the '90s in a period
Oh
where
yeah,
everything was kind of all edge, and not everything in the '90s worked, but certain things did, and we're getting a
facts. Yeah.
continuation of that this year when early to mid 2024 we'll be getting X-Men 97. X-Men 97,
Yes, sir.
it's coming. It was created by Bo DiMeo for the streaming service Disney Plus, based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the X-Men. It serves as a revival of the X-Men animated series that ran for 5 years between 1992 and 1997, and the plot will continue where the original series left off. X-Men 97 is produced by Marvel Studios Animation, with DeMaio serving as head writer. Several cast members returned from the original series, including Cal Dodd, Lenore Zan, George Buza, Catherine Disher, Chris Potter, Allison Seeley Smith, Adrian Ho, Christopher Britton, and Allison Court. A revival of the 1990s animated series was first discussed in 2019, with X-Men 97 formally announced in November 2021, along with the involvement of Marvel Studios Animation and DeMaio. It's the first X-Men project from Marvel Studios following the merger of 20th Century Fox, regaining the film and television rights to the characters. It's scheduled to premiere in early 2024 and will consist of 10 episodes. The second season of this is already in development. How are you feeling about all this, A-Rob?
Wow. I am excited, man. Like man. Oh, come back to me because I need to get this together. It's like so much because I'm pretty sure we can all agree 5 out of 5 for X-Men.
Yeah.
We've been
That's what I got, 5
mutants X-Men in the MCU just no matter what form. That's why we were just eating when they just had that little musical sting of for Miss Marvel being a mutant because there's the implications of it all. But now we're finally get them, even though it's animated, it will be canon.
Yeah.
So it's that means whatever happens in the show, it happened in the MCU. We just didn't see it.
Right. Asa, what do you think about this series?
5 out of 5. When they put the old school Marvel or the X-Men and the Spider-Man shows on Disney Plus, I think that's one of the first things I did. For that next week, that's where I lived. So it's been a minute since I watched them, and I'm gonna have to watch them again right before this one drops. I'll go through all 5 seasons beforehand again.
You're gonna have a ball because I recently just binged it a month ago, and the amount of time Storm falls out of the sky and Beast catching someone or just Rogue, it's funny looking back at it.
You know what's
because of the story.
And I'll give you guys a little bit of my background on this series. First of all, this series, without a doubt, informed me on the X-Men. I had no other source of reference.
Same.
The things I saw in this series is what told me about the X-Men, to the point that when they started doing live action stuff, I had several questions because I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
Another funny fact about this series and me, I don't think I've ever watched this series serialized. I feel like I've missed significant episodes. I would just jump in on an episode, have no clue this is part 2 of 5 of the whatever saga.
When I was watching it, I didn't realize.
Kid, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but
X-Men had arcs, whole 5-part arcs.
Yeah, several of them, and one of the they still are the only ones to nail the Dark Phoenix saga, in my opinion. Integral story in X-Men lore that we've tried twice in live action film to do, and both times right underneath the mark for this. So yeah, like I remember one of the things, I remember being a huge Rogue fan, and then I'm watching the first X-Men movie, and I'm like, she doesn't fly, she doesn't punch people in the
Why, I
face.
had the same questions, fam. I'm like, why is everyone wearing black spandex? I understand.
Yeah,
It's like early
then I had to go
2000s,
back.
so it's like it's
I
the
had to like
thing.
do research, and I'm like, oh, our Rogue in the animated series can fly because she's already taken Carol Danvers' powers.
Yeah.
She already yoked up Carol Danvers, so she can fly and she has super strength and stuff. I never knew that. Never, I was informed by this series here, um, and this series shows how much further, like our X-Men live action never touched on, like, what is it, Leandra and her people up there in space, or those weird roaches, the
Oh
Brood.
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
what were they
yeah.
called? Those space. Those, I know who you're
You know
talking
what I'm talking
about.
about. You know about Leandra and
Yeah.
her people. Someone's screaming at us right now. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, we're talking about a lot right now.
The
But
Shi'ar.
the Shi'ar, there you go. The
That's
Shi'ar,
it.
and the Shi'ar, that opens the door for all those, right? The Imperial Guard and all that stuff
Like Gladiator, the
goes on
cosmic
over there.
characters, the
Yeah. So
Brood.
so similarly, I think that they'll be testing a lot of stuff here as well to see what they can do and what they can't. I've only ever thought that the original
Yeah.
series just needed a new coat of paint, and this is what this is. In a world where we are seeing almost a renaissance of superhero animation, when you think of things like Spider-Verse and stuff, this always had a seat at the table. It's just coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like, your seat's warm, bro. Like, just come sit down. Ain't no one gonna protest.
Oh yeah,
Ain't no
no,
one
for
gonna
sure. Like
protest.
they're definitely gonna give it that facelift because like when we're watching X-Men, I'm like, for a guy that has like blades on his like pants, there's not a lot of impaling in this compared to the movies.
No, no, no. And
Yeah.
I like all his Joe Pesci. He can't ever say anything, so he's always like growling and grumbling. um.
Don't miss the comedic tropes. Like the show is forever goated.
Another thing. I was always I started reading comments. And I'm like, why isn't my Storm constantly bombarded with claustrophobia? Like, she's constantly envisioning like that landfall of where she got like buried on the rocks when she was in Africa, and I was like, that's traumatizing as hell as a kid to see a superhero with the powers of like literally all of nature. Her mind jacks her up, and anytime she's in a small space, she just flips out, and I'm like, that's some powerful stuff. And my Storm in the
Yeah.
movies is like what happens when a frog gets hit by lightning. The same thing that happens to everything else.
Dropped the whole accent after the first movie.
At least I've
Oh,
chosen
she
to
did,
side.
didn't she?
Yes, she did.
That accent was gone so fast. Oh my God.
My favorite thing she's ever done. Remember when she did that little tornado and hit somebody? Like she came out of the sky like a
Oh yeah, in
Beyblade.
X3.
Oh,
She showed up like a
yeah.
Beyblade, and oh, funny stuff, funny stuff. This one's a little bit personal for me. It's one of my favorite shows. It'll be entering its last season this summer. Superman and Lois. It's a television series based on Superman and Lois Lane. I've been following this show for a long time. The first 2 seasons I've actually done reactions to. This thing has made me laugh. It's made me cry. I'm quite literally. And it's kind of reinforced my belief and hope that Superman can still be kind of a goody two shoes, but not shown in a corny light. Never, the joke's never on him that he's doing the right thing or that he is on the straight and narrow. I don't think that's the best way to build your universe if everyone's laughing because Superman's too good or too too much of a Boy Scout. I think he should have the same reverence as Cap. I think people should be like, he can be kind of folksy, but I'm not trying to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to,
Right.
because you could fall into that trap. They did it with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was growing up. Like, Leonardo was never looked cool in the stuff that I watched because he would be like, all right, everybody, we're going left. And Ralph would be like, I'm going right. And he would just go fucking right. He never respected. He never had any reference for him. So it's like, I felt like almost everything I had a leader and then the cool one. And the cool one never listens to the leader. But in a world where they don't immediately have a Batman to distract you, Superman and Lois has been able to cultivate lore, and a character that people are going to look back on and really realize the kind of magic that they were doing over there. I think the two leads have tremendous chemistry. We just covered this third season, I would say probably less than a month ago. So you guys go ahead and look back on that. But Asa, is this show at all on your radar? Were you a fan of the Arrowverse at all? And what do you think about what this could possibly be? I'll go ahead and also say 5 out of 5 for me for anticipation, because as someone who's been on this road with the Arrowverse, I gotta go to the funeral. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair.
I saw it be born. I saw it take its first steps. Like, I often talk about how the Flash brings in that whiteboard and he's like, guys, there's multiple Earths. There's an Earth 1 and there's an Earth 2. Before Spider-Verse, before the MCU multiverse, the Arrowverse was showing doppelgangers and different versions and all that kind of stuff, and introducing that to a brand new fan base. So I'm gonna be there. What's your temperature on this, Asa?
I was big on the Arrowverse for I think the first 7 or 8 seasons of Arrow. Loved the Flash. I even enjoyed Supergirl for the most part. The only thing that kicked me off of it was the fact that I had to watch what felt like 10 shows every week to maintain a whole story. And I know I could always just jump in and watch the carryover episodes, and like then you can get the most information you need. But I think I cut out the same season as they did their version of the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I imagine it's a fun show. Superman, if you can do him right, can be a lot of fun. But for me, this is not really up my wheelhouse. I'd hate to hurt you, but I
you're good
on this. It's not really my cup of tea.
I mean, again, if you've gotten off this train, what does this even look like to you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is where it's gone on without you after a while. And that happened to me with a bunch of these shows. Like Legends of Tomorrow completely just left me. Like it grabbed its stuff and it fucking went. And I was like, you gonna wait for me? Like, I'm still watching all this stuff over here. Oh, by the way, we just greenlit Naomi. Oh, by the way, Naomi's canceled. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? What are you doing? Hey, Rob, you coming with me to the funeral?
Yeah, man, I'm coming with you to the funeral because like we watched how it all was birthed from, like, from Man of Steel, from Flash and Arrow to the Infinite Earth, Supergirl. Like, I want to see how this ends. Like, I'm going to see Aquaman. Going to finish watching Aquaman 2. And they're going to finish watching Superman and Lois. Like, seeing Blue Beetle. So I got to finish it up to the end. Got to.
Yeah. What are you giving out of 5?
So, like, I'm like 4 out of 5. Like, I'm like, Dick's my girl. Like, I'm a huge Superman fan. Like, he is like been revitalized in me because I'm excited for James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah. Spoilers for those who haven't seen it up until this point, but the 4th season actually ends with a kind of a big cliffhanger because he goes one-on-one with that universe's version of Doomsday. Not only that, but Michael Cutlitz, who played Abraham on The Walking Dead, who's playing Lex Luthor in this. So it's super interesting because I know that the budget kind of got stripped for this this 4th season. I know that majority of the featured actors, I forget what they call those guys that are not the main actors, but they're still on the cast. Those, like, they're talking about like almost all of them might not. Something like that. Series regulars. This all the series regulars besides like Superman and Lois and their kids have been nixed. They might show up and guest in this last season. That's also shorter than any other thing. It's only going to be 10 episodes as opposed to the 13 we've been getting. So it's a shorter season, less characters, less money overall. I just want to see them stick the landing because this is the end of an era.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. Something that hasn't really made much sense to me. When they started these MCU television shows, we got WandaVision, and I was like, this is kind of prestige and kind of cool. This is pretty lit. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. What is grief but love persevering? Great stuff. And then they're like, oh, we got a bunch of shows we're gonna come out with. Oh, and by the way, that Agatha character is getting her own show. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, we're gonna give a show to Agatha. And I'm like, but wasn't she like trapped in Westview or whatever? But we're getting it. I don't know what it's called.
Right, Covenant Chaos, Darkhold Diaries, like Activists, OnlyFans. Like, there's so many things out there.
I think the official title is Darkhold Diaries now.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that it was getting switched over to Agatha All Along at one point, with even some mocked up stuff. But I think that they're trying to simultaneously have this show without giving us too much of what it's about in the title. If that's what it feels like, they keep switching and moving things around.
From the behind the scenes photos, it looked like it's going to be like some type of witch, like murder mystery thing.
Interesting. They're bringing in a bunch of younger actors to play younger magic wielders and users. So this could be an introduction of a whole slew of characters. I think Marvel's been kind of lacking in the magic and the cosmic side as far as introducing new characters. But they're seemingly opening the door with things like this. So Agatha Darkhold Diaries, which is what we'll call it for now, is created by Jack Schaefer for the streaming service Disney Plus. The series is intended to be part of the MCU. It's a spinoff of WandaVision. The show is set to premiere in late 2024 and will consist of 9 episodes. The series follows Agatha Harkness, a powerful witch who has masqueraded as Agnes in the fictional WandaVision sitcom. After breaking out of her containment in Westview, New Jersey, she finds herself powerless and looks to some unlikely allies to join her on her quest to regain her former powers. The series will reunite several actors from WandaVision and introduce exciting new characters, forming a new coven of witches in the MCU. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I love Catherine Hahn in majority of what she's in. I think she's incredibly charming.
Who's ever mad about saying Catherine Hahn?
No, she's one of those female comedians or actors that has just impeccable comic timing. Like, she's just, really, really good at that. I thought she was a tremendous addition to WandaVision. And I'm interested in seeing how they're going to, because I felt like by the end of that series, she's kind of made out to look like an out and out villain. They'll have to kind of, and now given the events of Multiverse of Madness, we know that she was possibly trying to stop an apocalypse with the Scarlet Witch. But I would like to hear more of that. What put her on Wanda's path? And I could totally see it being a situation of like, well, if you want to really get your powers back, we might need the witch that took them. And we might need to bring Wanda's ass back. we might have to bring Wanda back. So I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. A-Rob, what are you thinking about Agatha Darkhold Diaries, All Along, Covenant Chaos?
I'm excited as fuck for the show. No, for real. Like, I really am excited for Catherine Hahn getting her own show in the MCU, because not only is it Catherine Hahn, but she works well in like the sitcom format or just like that rom-com format of like storytelling. Like, she's just A1 when it comes to like the comedic beats and everything that she's involved in. Like, it's funny, it's good. So like, I really have hopes, like high hopes for this show, and just for just the supporting cast around her, like with Charlie Cox and Aubrey Plaza. Like,
Aubrey Plaza is good. That's huge. Aubrey Plaza in the MCU. That's another
oh my god! Like, she killed it as the Shadow King in Legion. So now we're getting her.
I'm still crossing my fingers that that's who she's playing, bro. I would really, 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 really love. I would really, really love if they could connect her to Letty. Was that her name?
Yeah, Lenny. Yeah,
Lenny in Legion. And if the Shadow King manages to stick around, it'd be very interesting to see the Shadow King meet Star-Lord in this universe. You guys make a great couple. I think if you guys move to Indiana, they could really make this work out. But yeah, 1 out of 5. Hey, Rob, what you giving it? Darkhold
I'm giving
Divers.
it giving it 4 out of 5. Solid.
4 out of 5. All-Star Asa, is this on your radar?
I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5.
Oh,
Well, one, like you guys said, Catherine Hahn's impeccable. She's phenomenal. I can't think of a role she's done that she didn't crush the role. Whether it be a tiny role or a major role. I'm not sure. I think it's the same writers as WandaVision, if I read correctly.
Yep.
yeah.
They crushed it writing wise. But I'm going to make a prediction.
Oh.
I believe we finally get the emergence of Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephistopheles.
Mephisto confirmed. Finally,
Mephisto confirmed? Right? You heard it
they
here
jangled
first.
the keys. They jangled the keys for a couple of years, and we all thought we knew where he was going to pop up at, and he could quite possibly pop over here.
Mm-hmm.
This would make more sense than Ironheart.
But because he was rumored to be an Ironheart, and if he even makes if you see a picture of him talking, or he makes even an appearance, boom, that connects with Ironheart, connects to Wakanda Forever, connects to everything else. Like it's just gonna feel whole, especially if it's Mephisto.
Yeah.
And isn't the whole thing like I'm not trying to be too simplistic here, but isn't the whole thing about like witches like they're like the thing of Satan, like they're like they work kind of hand in hand. Yeah. They're the Jehovah's Witnesses of Satan or something like that. Like
yes, 100% that.
That's right. That's an equivalency.
You heard it here first.
But yeah, it would make a lot of sense. Like, and totally like when you talk about if she's incredibly desperate to get her powers back, I could see her making a literal deal with the devil to do so. And what would that mean for the implications moving forward? Very, very interesting, because once you introduce something like Mephisto into the MCU, you kind of figure that guy's going to stick around and he's going to have a lot of fun with some of these characters here.
Oh, yeah.
We get one more day. Spider-Man 5.
Oh, no, please, for the love of God.
No, but they reverse it. They reverse it. Like, he makes the deal so everyone remembers him. But, and there's a whole mixed bag, a host of problems that come with that.
Some other monkey's paws kind of situation.
Yeah.
I can see that Agatha show being pretty dark, but possibly the darkest thing that will come out next year is going to be Joker Full Ado.
Hey, Joker 2.
October 4th. It is a musical thriller film. It's a sequel to Joker 1. It's directed by Todd Phillips, stars Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, and the film is produced by Warner Brothers Pictures and DC Studios in association with Village Road Show Pictures. Braun Creative and joint effort. This movie is set to be released right around Halloween, October of this year. Excuse me. There are no plots that have been revealed about Joker 2 yet. However, some sources have stated that the movie will follow Arthur Fleck's life inside Arkham Asylum, how his romance develops with Harley Quinn, and how the demented pairing will flourish or flounder side by side depending on your point of view. Another synopsis for the movie puts the focus squarely on the infamous romance between the Clown Prince of Crime and Harley Quinn, and it's also rumored that the movie will involve Joker teaming up with Harley, possibly to take on a new villain. This is getting a 5 out of 5 for me, mostly because I have not really been impressed with DC's outings at the theater. I did like Joker 1. I didn't absolutely love it, but I can see the masterfulness in it. And I would recommend it and I'd watch it. Joker 2, I've been so staunchly against how DC has been kind of portraying things and just mucking up everything and messing everything up. I have no real my talents aren't really dug into this universe, so they can really do anything to me in this movie, and I'm kind of just watching to see what it is. The other DC movies, I was watching to see how those puzzle pieces fit in the grand scheme of things. Where does Blue Beetle gonna fit? Where does the Flash fit? Where does Aquaman fit? I don't really care about this in that sense, which actually is gonna allow me to enjoy it more because there's no stakes to me. Just tell a story. The musical aspect of it is extremely interesting, and I think it's gonna be hit or miss. But I didn't think the first one was gonna hit as well as it did, so I'm giving full anticipation to this because I quite possibly cannot predict it. I don't think I could see how this is all going to unfold. I love the Mad Love story. I love the biggest part of the Mad Love story I love is when Hardy actually leaves. So we'll see how this works here. I remember there being a lot of digital ink spilled about whether or not the original Joker film would romanticize this mass murdering clown prince of crime. And there could be equal sort of backlash as to whether or not we should be portraying Harley as a doting, girlfriend who on occasion gets slapped around.
Oh Lord.
But I don't think any of that. Like, I don't think anyone saw Joker and was like, that guy's cool. Like that guy, he's dancing around in his undies with a gun. It's just like, they found a way to make him not glad. The whole point of Heath Ledger's Joker was that he was a mysterious force of nature. You didn't know anything about him, so you could put any backstory on him, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm the Joker now." But that guy who shot Robert De Niro in the face, like that, I don't think anyone really wants to be him. So I hope this does dive deeper into the depravity of mental health when unchecked, the cracks in the system. Regular people fall in every day because they're not Bruce Wayne, they're not rich, they can't afford, all this other kind of stuff. If it's anything on that, I think it'll knock it out of the park. But Asa, what are you thinking about Joker 2, which they should have been called Joker 2 Jokes on You?
It'd be a 5 out of 5 if that were the case.
There you go, baby.
Yeah.
I walked into Joker 1 thinking, okay. And I walked out very impressed. They really focused on mental health in a very effective way. It made for a telling story. It was very enjoyable. And the ending was just, the whole movie was wild. How they kind of built the whole like mob mentality around him murdering people on a train. And then, so I'm really curious about how this one kind of goes forward. And then I would say my biggest curiosity is with Joker 1, they made him have the relationship with his neighbor or whatever. And then in the end, like, that wasn't the case. Right. If they do something similar with Harley Quinn, or if we're seeing that all in his head like we did in the previous one, or if it's reversed, or just the level of how they toe the line with the mental instability of Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, like what if Harley, every time she sees him, he's like decked out in a tuxedo, his hair's amazing. She's like, how does no one else see this man? The greatness of this man, and he's there fucking licking paint and shit. And like, what's going on here? You brought up something I didn't think about that I was anticipating. Because I think it even goes into our culture, right? I remember when that Dahmer series dropped on Netflix. It blew up. We have, as a society, an obsession with infamous killers. What does that look like in Joker's universe? He gets put behind bars. Now this urban legend goes throughout Gotham. Does it create copycats? Does it create people who think that he's innocent or that he shouldn't be in jail because of his mental instability? The whole point of the introduction of Harley Quinn is so that he can be evaluated mentally. At what point does she realize, or does she think that she realizes that he may not be all crazy?
Right? Yeah.
Super sanity.
He's kind of making a little bit of sense here, and then. We didn't really see this. It was kind of like chopped up in the Suicide Squad. But what takes a normal woman like that, right? And says, not only do I want to break you out of here, but like give me some of that paint. Like I'm down to dress up. Like I'm down to go crazy and where that line falls. The more relatable they can make that line, I think that's what's really gonna hit or miss here. But A-Rob, what are you thinking about Joker 2?
I'm excited. 5 out of 5 out of anticipation for me. Like me and my girl are both excited to see just where the story is going to go with the character, because not only just Lady Gaga, she's going to murder it as Harley Quinn. If you've seen House of Gucci, Like, oh my god, she has acting chops. She can do the damn thing.
Yep.
And like you said it before, with how they highlight or how they show with how mental health how it goes when mental health is unchecked. To see what happens when a character has mental health like that goes unchecked with charisma, that has that infamy about them, what that influence is going to do to the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with her character, is she gonna have that one bad day and say like, give me some face paint, like bleach my skin? I'm trying to be on what you got.
Yeah. All it takes is like a bad talk with your boss, right? She's sitting there and he's like, "Hey, listen, you took too much overtime. We're gonna have to let you go." She's like, "You know what? I'm breaking that dude out. We about to start chilling
Right.
now. This was all gonna be." But yeah, I got no doubt Gaga's gonna kill it. Classically trained Juilliard graduate. She's got bona fides out the wazoo. She's gonna kill it in this. And I wonder if they leave the door open for whatever this is going to be, or if they're going to feel the ever loving pull to connect it, which I feel like is always permeating. They always have that temptation to link it back to something that we do know. So we'll see if any of that ends up happening. Talking about DC and talking about things off to the side, the Penguin is coming out this year in the universe of the Batman. It is coming out for Max. It's based on the DC comic character, the Penguin. It's a spinoff, like I said, of the Batman. It explores Penguin's rise to power in Gotham City and in the criminal underworld. It stars Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. Clancy Brown's going to be in it. Shohreh Aghdashloo and Kristen Milotti is also starring in it. And yeah, it's set to be released, but we don't have an official release date yet. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I am a unabashed Batman lover. I will watch anything tangentially connected to the man, which is what got me so mad about things like Gotham Knights, the show, and everything else that was quasi Batman but just not Batman. At least knowing that this is happening in the background of either Batman 1 or Batman 2, that gives this, gives me more reason to watch it. And yeah, I'm always down to see like the rise of a criminal. And man, you want to talk about someone who disappears in that face, in the prosthetics or all that kind of stuff. Colin Farrell.
Right.
There's so many people who didn't even know that that's who was playing that character. And
so
I love
many
the
people.
pictures. Yeah, I love the pictures of him regular and then him with all the makeup, the scar. Like, I love how seedy they made him in the Batman. Like, he's a sleazeball. He's dirty, sleazy, and unabashedly so. They almost go like the Kingpin route in Spider-Verse, where like for the first time ever he's kind of introduced, hey, a little Italian.
Hey, like, what are you doing?
Hey, Rata Alada, come on. None of y'all speak Spanish? World's greatest detective here. They're doing all that stuff. Yeah, so I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. What you thinking, Asa?
Well, one that the Matt Reeves built world was phenomenal. Real dark, real gothic. I know he's not directing it, but I know he's directly involved with the project a lot. And like you said, Colin Farrell, he disappeared. I forgot he was in the movie, and then when I was looking this up, I forgot he's in the show. And I'm going through the cast, I'm like, Colin Farrell's in this, and yeah, so it's wild. I know I'm 4 out of 5 for sure. Matt Reeves crushed it. I'm ready for this. I'm ready. Anything Matt Reeves wants to do, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're saying like when Matt Reeves is out here, like I'm here for it. He set up a world in this Elseworld, the Batman world, and I want to see more of it. If we're going to get that with this underworld seedy version of Gotham with the Penguin.
Yeah. What's also interesting is they could backdoor anybody in this, right? They could could have a one-off character in this who ends up being somebody in the Batman. They could do breadcrumb trails to lead to any big Batman story or any big Batman origin with some of these villains and stuff. It'd be interesting to see who he rubs shoulders with in this, because I doubt everyone is not going to be. I doubt there's going to be anyone in there that's completely nameless. Batman has so many characters, you might as well start using some of them in this. So
it'd be really fun to see Black Mask.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah,
thinking about that. This later breadcrumbs for Black Mask because he's a ruthless underlord
Mm-hmm.
or like drug lord, not drug lord, crime lord in Gotham.
yeah, yeah. He's gonna have to take the reins from somebody because you don't rise unless you're coming from somewhere pretty low. So I'll be interested in seeing what even turns him to a life of crime in this. Because majority of the time, Oswald Cobblepot comes from a rich family. He comes from a well-to-do family, and ends up getting into this stuff anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how it happens there. Another thing I have that's coming out that I have very little actual details on, Eyes of Wakanda, the animated series coming to Disney Plus. Um, the show synopsis is throughout Wakandan history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. It's set to premiere this year on Disney Plus, like I said. I actually gave this a 4 out of 5 because I like legacy characters in comic books in general. I like the idea of mantles being passed and stuff. And we were just talking about the Immortal Iron Fist, and like they take a minute in that book to go through different decades and show you different people who've held that power, and it just makes the weight of the individual character weigh that much more because it's a legacy. It's everything behind them on this. I always thought Wakanda was extremely interesting to dive into. And I think they possibly were thinking about doing that stuff when they had mentioned them being an Okoye show at one point, a Dora show
Yeah,
at one point. But this might be what they actually want to do. And it'll be cool to see whether it's just regular Wakandans or ancestors of T'Challa, deal with whether it's political issues, the stuff with this vibranium stuff. I mean, how did they feel when Stark got his hands on some vibranium and made a frisbee? Like that's real. Like that happened. So I'll be interested in seeing how that goes. Eyes of Wakanda. How are you feeling about that, A-Rob?
man, I'm super excited for it. I'm always here for the doop doop doop. Like I'm, and
Bum
like you
bum bum
said,
bum.
like I'm here for it all, man. I'm here for it all because like not only is it just a unique place in the MCU, it's just something for the culture that it does. Like the show like this, the Afrocentric or the Afrofuturism of Africa. Like the what if it was never colonized? What if this place was never touched by outside world? Like what if what it would look like? And I love seeing that time and time again. Personally, I just love seeing it all like constantly. Like give me all of Wakanda. Show me the temple of the city of the dead kings. Like show me the necropolis. Show me the crown city. Like show me it all. Show me the past Black Panther. Show me like the first one. Show me, Bashinga. Show me the one that was a pirate. Show me the child's granddad that gave Howard Stark the vibranium. Like, show me how that deal went down.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're talking about like it's a cool world. It's mostly untouched, right? Like we don't have a huge history in this universe besides what we know about T'Chaka and stuff. Asa, I know you're up and down on animation. Think you'll be checking this out?
Oh, for sure. One, I mean, it's going to flesh out the MCU a bit, which I'm a big MCU buff. Two, there's a rumored appearance of the actual Iron Fist appearing in Wakanda.
That could be
That's
cool.
the thing I found online. Don't quote me, but
You're good,
from a pretty good source.
Yeah.
But I also hope they do when they do it. They do this is their story, and then go bum bum like Law and Order SVU. So, but this is Wakanda story. Bum bum Wakanda VU. No, it'll be good. I hope we delve into. I mean, kind of like A-Rob was saying, all the different Black Panthers we've had in the past. It'll be fun. And then we'll also get a little bit of we'll get the love letter to Wakanda that we also got in Wakanda Forever. So.
And let's go back to Wakanda in like a happy space, man. Because Wakanda Forever wrecked me, and now whenever I think of that place, I get sad. So like, let's go back to being a little bit happy, and a little bit of that praise bast. So yeah, those guys will be kind of fleshing out that universe of Wakanda this year. You want to talk about first impressions? Creature Commandos comes out this year. Creature Commandos is the official first project of James Gunn's DCU. And not only that, all these characters, or some of them, have already been confirmed to cross over into live action and kind of permeate the universe. He's building this universe basically brick by brick, and this is the first brick that's going to introduce a bunch of wacky characters into his universe. The series is produced by DC Studios and Warner Brothers Animation, and will be the first television series, in the DCU. The show is set to premiere on Max in late 2024, and it revolves around a Black Ops team of monsters assembled by Amanda Waller called the Creature Commandos. This team is tasked with retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts, can be vibranium, right? From around the world. This series is written by James Gunn and stars Frank Grillo, Maria Baklova, Indira Varma, Zoe Chow, Alan Tudyk, David Harbour, Sean Gunn, and Steve Agee. So yeah, James Gunn is bringing in all his friends, which is going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really. I know almost everybody in Guardians is being casted in the DCU in some way, shape, or form. There's no way that he's not. So I'm just going to wait till when all those shoes drop. But even look at that cast there: David Harbour, MCU, Frank Grillo, MCU, Maria Baklova, MCU, Sean Gunn, MCU. So, a lot of these guys are getting their stripes on both sides. Another animated series. This is getting a 5 out of 5 for me in terms of anticipation, because this is going to set the standard. This is going to tell me, I've seen Gunn handle a ragtag group of people before in both Guardians and in the Suicide Squad, and now with this. But this will be just very similar to the Man of Steel. The tone and all that is going to be set by this. This is the pacemaker for the DCU. So that's where I'm sitting on that. Rob, how you feeling about Creature Commandos?
Like you said, it's James Gunn, So I have all the hope for it. Straight 5 out of 5, because we've seen him handle the Guardians and we've seen him handle the Suicide Squad. So he knows how to handle that group of characters that are just mixed, wacky, they're different, they're all different personalities and all different powers. He knows how to handle that kind of group to bring to really show the synergistic qualities between them, to really show how this team works as a group. I can't wait to see that. I hope it has a nice comedic tone to it, especially with how different all these characters look. And I'm never mad about seeing the monster theme to projects. I love the whole creature theme, the Creature Commandos, the Howler Commandos, Monster Mash, the Monster Mayhem. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I will say that DC, one of my frustrations that I had with them is that they have a treasure trove of characters, the weirdest, the coolest, all that kind of stuff. And we've barely broken the surface because all we ever do is Batman and Superman origin movies. Mm-hmm. Literally everyone was just like, Wonder Woman's kind of cool. Wonder Woman's been around forever. And we could have done this a long time ago, but we're now slowly trickling in and being introduced. That's why I think it's so interesting that James Gunn is choosing characters like Swamp Thing to make a film about, Supergirl to make a film about, the Authority. We're going in other corners that studios feared, that they would think is too much into the weeds for the common person, when they've only shown with the MCU that people want to get into the weeds. They want to get into the lore. They want to bite on something that's a bit more substantial than just the surface level superhero stuff. But Creature Commandos, Asa, what are you thinking?
Oh, I think 5 out of 5. Gunn, he's proven. we know he's smart. We know he builds his world. He fleshes his world out in such a way that everyone's going to benefit if you watch it. You get a return of Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I think that's huge. You have his brother, who's going to do apparently every voice in there. If you listen to Zach,
I heard that too. Yeah, Shazam, shooting strays out here.
Yeah. I think the Guardians trilogy proves how much he can flesh out a bunch of no-name characters. Or not no-name, but
a tree.
U-list character. Yeah,
a tree. He got a tree over. So yeah,
exactly. And then so you're going to see. I think we all kind of have an idea of who Rick Flag is. But
Yeah.
and also Alan Tudyk is a phenomenal voice actor, as well as
Yeah.
regular actors. So I mean, I think it's going to be I think it'll be fun, even for people like me who are a little iffy on animation.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. You mentioned Alan Tudyk, and there was a thing where it's like I believe that man could do anything, and then
Hmm.
I heard that he was playing Joker in Harley Quinn, and I was like, I don't know if he could. He knocks it out of the park. He's great as Joker in Harley Quinn. He's just a talented man overall. Rumor has it he's the one that created the choreography for the Peacemaker intro.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I mean, again, and he was in Doom Patrol, which if you haven't seen Doom Patrol, that first season is really really good. And he's
Oh,
amazing
it's
killing it in
fire.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, but Harley Quinn is actually getting its fifth season this year.
Ah,
I have no details on it at all. uh, but I like that universe. I Harley makes the series kind of makes me smile because it was one of the first series greenlit back when it was DC Universe, the DC Universe app, you know? And when you think of like everything else that came out around that time, Titans is not coming back. Doom Patrol just finished up. Stargirl ain't continuing, but Harley Quinn is still kicking. Like that show 5 seasons, more than any of the other shows that I just mentioned. Um,
it just shows that DC is still out here killing it with the animation.
Yeah,
yeah,
DC's untouchable with animation.
and they've been doing it for years, and this is just another layer of that there. And of course, one of the things I love about this series is that it chooses to have the comic book appearance of Bane, but the Dark Knight voice of Bane. So the whole series is just hey, what's going on, guys? Hey. Is anyone else hungry? And you're like, what? You're like, just the whole hearing it and seeing it, absolutely hilarious. Hey, Rob, what you thinking about Harley Quinn season 5?
Oh, dude, I'm always excited for some Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, dude. Like ever since season one, King Shark is a shark.
Oh yeah,
Just Clayface, Poison Ivy, Frank the Plant. Like I love the entire show, and it's a living show. It's aware of itself. It's woke, not woke, but like it's aware. It knows
yeah.
how funny it is. It knows how serious it is. It knows when to make those comedic beats, and it hits every time. Like Clayface, like that, like like I don't know why. I just really want to watch it now. But like, dude, I'm 5 out of 5. I anticipation for it. Like, I always love seeing Harley Quinn, character that was made purely for animation, wasn't in the comics, and she's still out here killing it in animation. So yeah, it's 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah. Are you familiar with this series, Asa?
Vaguely. It's one of the shows that appears on my reels more often than not when I go on Facebook.
Yeah.
So what I've watched is really funny.
I could see truncated versions of this being like pretty hilarious.
Oh, great. There's the one only. I mean, what comes to my head is the. It's a quick scene where Scarecrow and Joker catch Batman, and Scarecrow rips his mask off, and Joker's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh
Like, not
my
knowing what it
god!
was half the fun. Now, like,
Yeah.
and then he goes, "I ordered one of those Batman cars or the Bruce Wayne cars. Where is it?" Like, I put a down
Yeah.
payment on it. It just becomes a whole like it.
Like Tesla, like yeah.
Yes, it's a show that knows it's a show that I mean yeah. Aaron took all my notes. It knows that it's aware. It's aware that it's funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but they have a good time.
At one point in the series, I want to say it's in the second season, they just out and out give Batman his full episode, and the explanation is that it's two guys sitting, and they're hating on the fact that this is a woman-led DC project, and they're wearing was it release the Snyder Cut shirts.
Oh yeah!
They're like I think at one point he's like, oh yeah, that Harley Quinn show, that's it's absolutely ridiculous, whatever. And the guy's like, you did you watch it? And the guy's like, no, why would I ever watch it? He's like, so how do you know that about it? Absolutely ridiculous. And then there's one point in which Harley and Joker are running away from armed guards, and they're in a R&D for like weapons, and Harley shoots a guard with a cancer ray.
Oh,
So he shoots him, and like he's like, what happened? And it's like, oh my god, bro, she gave you cancer.
like Harley Quinn gave you cancer.
And she's like, why would they make this? Why is this a weapon? Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, and I also loved all the stuff they're doing with Hard Ivy. You know, one of the biggest couples in comics. And they're actually showing them for what they're for. So I dig that as well. So talking about biggest couples in comics, My Adventures with Superman season 2 drops. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5, only because I really liked what I saw of the first season, but it also caught me by surprise. Like when it dropped, I didn't watch it immediately. I caught it when I could, and then I liked it. So I think it's going to be similar with this. Like I don't want pressure on this, you know, so I'm putting it 3.5. I'll catch it when it swings around. I have no doubt that it'll be fun. Again, I'm not tired of the Superman stuff yet. Jack Quaid plays a good Clark Kent / Superman. And one of the things was like, it's so like dumbly obvious to me, but like Superman works well in anime. Like like a lot of the shonen stuff is like a Superman-esque character, you know, creating tidal waves by just flying past. So you would think, but yeah, when I saw some of this stuff here, him gaining some of his powers, like his X-ray vision and stuff like that, with the anime influence, I'm like, this goes hand in hand. And I think we're past the whole secret identity thing. So that's also good because that can drag a bit when every time you watch a new Superman thing, it's like, I've got to go get a hot dog. I'll be right back. And then he'll go around and do that. Did you catch any of My Adventures with Superman, A-Rob?
Oh yeah, I watched the whole entire first season. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna go a little higher than your rating. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5. Just because, like I said, my girl's a massive Superman fan, so we're never mad about seeing anything new Superman that comes our way. And like you said, like and Huey killed it as Superman. Like and it just fits, like the way that the animation style fits for the show. It really showcases how powerful he can be and also how human he can be at times. Yeah. You know, especially that moment when he had with Lois when he said, I didn't know I was bulletproof. I know you're not bulletproof. You know, that moment when he like saved her. Yeah, like it really shows like how deeply connected to his humanity he can be, even though he's not from our world. But it just shows how much influence we have on him. I like seeing that with Superman and those kind of like type of fish out of water characters.
Yeah, I've always said that that's been one of the most like the easiest mischaracterization they have about this character is because he's perceived to have all these powers, people perceive him as somebody who floats above us, when all Clark Kent wants is to be among us. Desperately just to be seen as a regular human. Because he has extra powers, he's willing to help us, you know, get where we're going, help the old, help the sick, help anyone in need. But he doesn't want to lead us. He doesn't want to, you know, be the most powerful person on the planet. He just wants to be one of the other billion people here. And I think that the series does a good job with that. Have you seen any of this, Asa? My Adventures with Superman?
No, but it's on my to watch list. Max is one of those apps that every time I get on, I watch a bunch, but it's like the 3rd or 4th app on my list to go through.
Right. Yeah. You're still exhausting Hulu a little bit?
Yeah. Hulu and Disney Plus.
The Bear, bro. If you haven't seen The Bear, get on The Bear.
I have not. But it's one I'm waiting to watch with my wife. She wants to watch it, so
it's good.
That's good stuff with the Shameless.
Oh yeah. And I think he's in that. He's in both.
He's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's in a name? What is in a name? Because we were told about a series called Spider-Man Freshman Year, but now it is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is an upcoming animated American web television series based on Spider-Man. It will be an installment of the MCU, and it will be produced by Marvel Studios. It's set to premiere on Disney Plus in 2024. The series will follow Peter Parker's first year of high school and his early career as Spider-Man. The show will feature villains such as Dr. Otto Octavius, Chameleon, Speed Demon, Scorpion, and Butane the Pyromaniac. It's kind of on the nose there. The series will also introduce new characters such as Harry Osborn and Amadeus Cho. Charlie Cox's Daredevil is also set to appear in the series. I think they also said Juan Carlo Esposito might be playing Norman Osborn. That was going around for a bit there. Now I will say that the rumor that I read is that the reason why it's being changed from freshman year to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was because initially when it was called Spider-Man Freshman Year, that was going to be season 1, and season 2 was going to be Spider-Man Sophomore Year. And the rumor is that they might just dump this after season 1. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. I hope that, we can backdoor a lot of this Spider-Man history and stuff into the MCU using a show like this. I think it's a hell of a tool, You don't got to pay for stunts and all that other kind of stuff. You can get everything done,
right?
Kind of in this way.
You can get away with a light animation, especially with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's always done well in animation, just very similar to Batman in that sense. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 5, mostly because I got a soft spot for Spidey, and yet I don't think I've ever seen a like completely blasphemous take on the character, or maybe I'm just blind because I care about him too much. But Asa, what are you thinking about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I'd probably lean more toward a 3 to 4. Initially, it was supposed to tie in, obviously the beginning of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man to the MCU. From what I understand, they're also going to add in Otto Octavius and talk about Oscorp, which means it would no longer be our Spider-Man because Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU proper.
Yeah, you're right.
That does take away a bit from me, but I mean, like you, I just enjoy Spider-Man. Like I could watch anything Spider-Man related and have a good time with it. So I mean, I've talked myself into 4.
I think that's pretty good. Hey, Rob, Spidey.
Same here. I'm gonna give it like a 4 out of 5, just because I'm really curious about where it's gonna sit in the MCU timeline. Because, like Asa said, it was like originally supposed to be like to show his origin before like we seen it in the MCU. So like now if he's facing off against all these villains, that's what I'm thinking, like, is this taking place like after No Way Home? That's why with the name change title, because freshman year implies like this is like his freshman year, first year of like first, I guess, few months of just having the powers, because in the MCU we've seen a Civil War up until that point he had them for like 6 months. So I'm like, was the animated show going to show that first 6 months of him just in his homemade suit, just struggling, fighting villains? Like, where were the Avengers at during this time when he fighting villains in New York?
It's a pretty big novelty that we've yet to see our MCU Spider-Man get bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge when you think about Spider-Man.
It's also kind of
that's literally his canon event.
Yeah. And I just love it because I feel like they just have the what do you call it, like because we've not cast Uncle Ben. I hope he's someone ridiculous. I hope it's like Danny DeVito. Like I want like
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, just give me an off the wall like choice for this, because you can literally do anyone and he's already dead, so it doesn't matter. I want to see.
Matter.
Meet Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie Sheen. Yeah. Well, Martin Sheen was Uncle Ben in Amazing Spider-Man, so it's just they just sheening it off. I want to see like a portrait in the hallway of like Marissa Tomei and Dennis Rodman. She's like, my Ben. I loved Ben all this time. He was a great mentor.
Dennis Rodman.
He gets all the rebounds.
Yeah, he had hops, all right? He had hops. Hey, Spider-Man Electro, Dennis Rodman Electra, it all comes full circle, baby. It all comes full circle. That was all terrible, by the way. But yeah. We actually are all done with live action stuff. We're only going to be covering animation. We only got 3 more projects left to talk about. Marvel Zombies, spinning out of What If. Marvel Zombies is a miniseries created by Zeb Wells for the streaming service Disney Plus. It's going to explore an alternate timeline in the multiverse introduced in What If the episode What If Zombies, in which a group of survivors must fight former heroes and villains who are now zombies. Wells serves as head writer and Brian Andrews directs. Iman Vellani is actually going to voice Kamala Khan in this, reprising her role from prior MCU media. I think there was even images of Shang-Chi, Wong, other various characters that's going to end up being in this. Marvel, was developing several animated series in addition to What If by June 2021, including a spin-off series, this one, What If Zombies, and that was officially announced in November, along with an involvement from Wells and Andrews. Marvel Zombies is scheduled to debut on Disney Plus, and it's only going to have 4 episodes. I like the Marvel Zombies comic. I think very similarly, I've been having a lot of fun reading anything that Tom Taylor does in Elseworlds, because I really feel like some of these writers get to kind of stretch their creativity when they're not bound by status quo. Like, oh, you can't kill that one. And you also can't kill that one. Oh, he got to kind of keep his powers. And oh yeah, you can't really mess up that team. You know, like with zombies, you could do whatever, kill whoever, you know. Obviously this is based on a source material, but I don't think anyone's going to be putting a gun to Zeb Wells' head and being like, you got to do a 1-to-1 adaptation. And zombies, I mean, they never get tired of that kind of stuff. Last of Us season 2 should be coming sometime soon. So like, it is what it is. But Asa, zombies, Marvel, is that up your alley?
I don't know. One, the What If series crushes it. Like, it's good, great overarching story, but especially individual stories. 2, I would like to know if maybe how it's going to go. It's 5 out of 5 for me. Marvel's animation is starting to step up their game, especially the What If series. So that'll be great. I want to know if it's going to be a sequel to. I believe at the end of the one episode where they had the 3 characters who were like, "We're here to survive. We're gonna make."
With like Ant-Man's head, and then like Spider-Man with a cape,
and Black Panther missing a leg.
Yeah, like
you know that team.
I was gonna make an off-color comment, but we'll all get canceled, and so will the podcast. So I won't do that. But let's just leave it there. But no, yeah. So I think for me that would be the most fun. I mean, if we continue that story, if we even get an origin, who started the zombie virus? I guess it was Ant-Man, probably. Yeah. But who started the zombie virus? Where does it go? You know, does the goddess of life Hela show up from the other?
That'd be. She could stop seemingly the zombie. Thing, if it will. I still have the tinfoil hat theory that none of this is being done without consideration that any of this could end up crossing over. I still think if we do Secret Wars, we might deal with zombie Iron Man. You know, we might deal with Kahari?
Kahari,
like that, yeah.
From What If, like, if you're creating these characters, you know, you could always end up using them in live action. So I think that's pretty interesting. A-Rob, were you a big fan of the Marvel Zombies comic, and do you think this can hold up?
Oh, dude, I am a massive fan of Marvel Zombies from the original, like, what's 5 or 3 volumes to the Resurrection, to the multiverse of it all, to, like, I am a huge fan because I really want to see if this is going to be a continuation of the story from episode 5 and season 1 of What If, or is it going to just branch out into a whole new, just its own thing, and see where it goes from there? Because like you said before, zombies, you can do whatever with zombies. There's so much storytelling in there that can just show how pitted the heroes can be with their backs against the wall going against zombies, and not just regular zombies with powers. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure like the infection just skyrocketed once Quicksilver got bit. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's not like the decisions that we'll be making in that are way more dire than our run-of-the-mill MCU adventure. Like leaving somebody behind when they get bit. What do you do? All that kind of stuff. I'm really excited to see how that all plays off. Because we don't know where that's gonna go. Something I know exactly where it's gonna go because it only ever goes one place. Watchmen is getting adapted again. Once again, we're getting an animated movie once again based on the iconic graphic novel written by Alan Moore. and illustrated by Dave Gibbons, which has already served as an inspiration for a 2009 adaptation in live action, a sequel series on HBO in 2019, and now we are getting another animated adaptation of this series. I put 4 out of 5. I like the series. I like the Watchmen story. I like the story of it all. I just kind of want to see what they can do in this that's different. That's different from what I've read. That's different from what I've seen in live action. I'm sitting with my arms crossed, but I'm optimistic because I do think that the story is like a good joke. I think you can tell the good joke 20 times to different audiences in different ways and it can still hit. So I'm very interested in seeing how this adaptation is going to hit. A-Rob, are you a big fan of Watchmen? Do you think that this animated adaptation is necessary?
Oh, dude, ever since Watchmen came out, it took a tone like the superhero genre, even though it's not a genre, I just want to call it that for lack of better words. It took a tone shift when Watchmen came out. It showed like superheroes can be dark, can be gritty, can be real, like can be relatable, are valuable, are not perfect, and can like succumb to like their baser human instincts. Watchmen showed that, and I loved it. So I'm here for the animated show. I was unaware that it was getting an animated adaptation. So a lot more is going to get done, especially with what's his name, the blue dude. What's his name?
Oh, Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan. They're going to get away with a lot with the CG when it comes to him and displaying his powers in that show.
Yeah, yeah. Asa, you a big fan of Watchmen? Do you think we can use another adaptation?
Well, the movie was fun. I don't know if you could. I don't know if a movie would be the best, especially with the animated. As an animated movie, because typically they're a little shorter, just because you don't want to murder your animators.
Yeah.
It almost would seem to me you could flesh out a little better if you did like a 3 or 4 part miniseries. I mean, it does take a little more work for your animators, so I apologize to any animators on that show that are listening. But I think that it would let you flesh out the story a little more effectively. But overall, I mean, 4 out of 5. It'll be a good watch.
One of the interesting things about the book is that I feel like they do a lot to kind of to use a metaphor I used earlier, to like the jingle the shiny keys in front of you to kind of distract you from what you're supposed to actually be paying attention to. Ozymandias is building a very nefarious plan throughout the book, but you're like, oh, who killed comedian and what's going on with Rorschach and Night Owl's getting a little bit rowdy with the old girl in his owl mobile or whatever is going on there. So still stuck there. And then the reveal happens. Like I said again about telling a good joke, I want to see if they're able to do the same thing. Similarly, have us interested in other things while our very seedy villain lays his track works for the tragedy, the outward tragedy, which we still have not seen in its entirety. You want to make me a fan? Give me that squid. And what happens right after that, right then and there. They did a little bit of it in the Watchmen television show. Little bit of it. They didn't do it in the movie at all because it's not the ending in the movie. There's no squid that gets transported. So yeah, you want to make this a 5 out of 5 for me? Let me see that squid. Give me that squid, man. Last but not least, it's a little bit off the beaten path, but we are getting Batman Azteca Choque de Imperios. It's an original Spanish language animated film that will place the world's greatest detective in Aztec Mexico and center viewers in the arcane culture of Mesoamerica. Borrowing beats from Batman's origin story, the film will follow a young Aztec boy as he trains with his mentor, developing equipment and weaponry for in the temple of Tazican, the Bat God. Bonkers enough for me. I put 4 out of 5. Same way with Spider-Man. Like, I'm here for all things Batman. I wasn't impressed with Batman Ninja. I thought that would be way better than it was. But Elseworlds being Elseworlds, this stuff happens all over the place. I'm into this sort of, they call him Kukulkan. I'm into some of that. some Namor as Batman, Mayan, Aztec stuff. I'm super excited. Mi gente, my people. A Spanish
Hey.
language film, so I'm super hyped about that. Are you gonna check out Batman Azteca, Asa?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
good Batman story is good. The story of the Aztecs is cool. I mean, it's very interesting. I just hope they do. Was it the Tenochtitlan, the city? They just got to do
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
justice. If they're making Tenochtitlan Gotham, I'm 100% in.
yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
too.
so
That'd be really
five out of
badass.
five. I'll check this one out.
Cool.
Right, yeah, no,
A Rob, how you
same.
feeling?
Same. No, any like Batman, just like Spider-Man, is one of those versatile characters that you can really put in any timeline, any period, any place, and the story is gonna hit. Just because of how the character, like, I guess, goes about interacts with their new surroundings, or just how the character is like, I guess how the story is around the character. I don't know how to word that. It's
Well,
just really,
it's gotta taste the same, but not be the same, right? It's almost
Yeah,
yeah,
like peanut butter and jelly ice cream. You don't want to taste bread, but it's got to give you kind of the feel of what you're looking for in that. And this has got to be
yeah.
a flavor of Batman, but not necessarily the same one we're normally served up.
Yeah, because like I enjoy Batman in the anime style. Was that Batman Ninja when he like kind of that whole transformation and when he fought Bane? Was
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
Batman Ninja?
Oh
Yeah,
no, no,
like
no. I know what you're talking. That was like a short where he turned into
yeah,
like the group of bats, and that was
yeah.
pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
Like that was extremely fire for some reason. It was like, dude,
yeah,
Batman in the anime, that it hits. It
yeah.
hits because you can just do so much that really showcases ninja shadowy abilities, you know. But I I'm here for it. I'm here for the Spanish take on the Cape Crusader, like you know, because his whole persona is influenced by Zorro. So you
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
That talk about a snake eating its own tail right there, huh?
yeah. So like, hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that influence in this.
At the
So
very
I'm giving
least,
it a
it's
four
going
out
to
of
be
five.
at the very least, it's going to be an interesting cosplay to see
Mhm.
moving forward.
Oh yeah, I always say that about these new shows and Elseworld stories. Like, oh, there's people about to cosplay this. Can't wait to see this at the next con.
And that's the
Especially
thing. I
the
think,
Hella Goddess of Life.
oh my, that's going to be so good. Um, Yeah, but like it's seemingly there are still a ton of stuff that we'll be getting this year that we're gonna get hella excited for. And I'm almost certain majority of this stuff we will be covering right here as part of the Major Issues podcast. Last week's episode was us kind of doing a recap, a year in review of 2023. This one is giving us a bit of a preview, this episode of 2024. But starting our next episode, we are getting hot and heavy with reviewing all this content, and we are starting with Echo. So I'm super stoked to be going on this journey of content and kind of seeing how the universe of comic book movies and TV writes itself, because it's been a kind of a rocky road since COVID. There's been a bunch that worked against them, and we'll see if time shows that they've learned these lessons, or we're going back by the wayside. But regardless of how this goes, we will be right there on the front lines reporting on it, as we do each and every week as part of the Major Issues podcast. And you can find the podcast wherever podcasts are found: Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, the Apple Podcast app, TuneFind, YouTube, Spotify, and more. The quickest way is just to Google Major Issues podcast, and we're the first ones that pop right up. I value that quite much, getting a footprint there in the whole Google sphere. But if you don't want to listen to us on any of that, the easiest thing, go to ComicBookClique.com. It's the one stop for everything Comic Book Clique. Articles written by us, every single episode of the Major Issues podcast. It's where you can hit our Patreon, patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse. And for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you help us keep our lights on here and afford the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing you guys with content and new content. We just started a video series, Major Previews, where once a month we'll be talking about the hottest comics and comic issues that'll be coming out that month to kind of prep you guys for what you guys should be looking for in the shops. That's super exciting, but we only get to do that because you guys have been supporting us here. So thank you guys so much for that. Who knows what will come into the future when it comes to other different projects. But one thing you do know is that we'll be doing the Major Issues podcast each and every week. So if you guys want to talk about any of those particular episodes, if you guys want to just shoot the stuff with us all on social media, reach out. We're on Facebook.com/ComicBookClique, Instagram @ComicBookClique, or you can use the hashtag ComicBookClique to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. Like I said already, you can support us by going to our Patreon. If you go to our website, you can actually buy merchandise designed by me, and we get a kickback for each and every one of those. So that helps us keep the lights on here. And yeah, we're growing. We doubled our numbers in 2023. Who knows what we're going to do in 2024? There's some exciting news that I can't even break right now for Comic Book Clique and Major Issues podcast that will be coming very, 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 very soon. And yeah, you know what it is, and you guys can attest to this. Like, we already on the cool kids table. We just waiting for everybody else to show up. Like, the party started. We here. We've been throwing this party. Ain't nothing new to this. We true to this. So just come on, get on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full. Because I've been to the future, where we do become the latest and greatest thing to come to comic books and comic book media. But I can't tell you how we do it because it will mess up the timeline. And next thing you know, Dwayne Johnson's playing Spider-Man because he's tired of everyone hating his PR stunts. So no one wants any of that. So make sure that you join on and get on the bandwagon before it becomes full, because we got places to go, people, and we want you guys right there with us. But hell of an episode today, guys, previewing 2024. But my name is George Serrano, aka The Don.
I am All-Star Asa Griffith.
Hey, and I'm A-Rob, the Marvel God.
And this has been Major Issues predicting 2024. And remember, whether you're still living in 2023, are you and ready for 2024, or ready to party like it's 2099, remember that we are the Clique, and always remember that you, yes, you, are worthy.